Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. In today's video, I want to talk about Bitcoin and I want to revisit the mega death cross that I talked about last week and see where we are with that. And I also want to communicate something to you. I want to communicate that short term, and I'm talking about very short term, immediate term, this week, next week, and who knows, maybe a little bit after that, I am bearish. And I want to explain why that's the case, but also explain, hey, I believe we're in the middle of a bear market rally, or at the early stages of a bear market rally. And I believe that it's going to take another 5 months or so, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. But short term, as far as what I'm seeing, I just think that we've got a little bit of a few things we need to work through, maybe a little bit of pain. I don't know. And so, hey, if you like this content, smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section. But otherwise, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. So anyway, I am speaking very fast, but let me slow down a little bit. You see these two lines right here, these two lines that are converging. I talked about this last week. And so this is a death cross on the weekly. This has never happened in Bitcoin's history. The 50-week moving average is about... It hasn't happened yet, but it's about to cross over the 200-week simple moving average for the first time in Bitcoin's history. Now, how bearish could this be? Well, last week I talked about when this has happened with the S&P, that indicated that there was further downside to come with the S&P 500. We've never seen it for Bitcoin, so you never know, but here's what I think is going to happen. I think traders are going to use this as an opportunity to short Bitcoin, and algo bots are going to just trigger. They're going to trigger automatically. So how far away are we from this? I mean, this is imminent. Next week, you are going to see, I believe, I'm very confident. Actually, yes, it's a fact. Next week, you are going to see these two lines cross. And so what happens? And what happens as as this chart updates, because it updates every week. Does it happen on Sunday night, midnight UTC, Monday morning UTC, or does it happen over the next couple of days here? We'll see. But I would expect very much for there to be some kind of trigger that happens that causes some kind of short-term dump for the price of Bitcoin. Now, that's not the only thing that I am paying attention to, but it is a thing. That's not the only thing that has me bearish short term, but it is a thing, okay? And it's something to consider. And I looked up Bitcoin news today, and I saw that this article was indicating something very similar to what I was thinking. And so, I've talked about this. I think I talked about this last week too. We also have a golden cross on the daily chart that's imminent. And so what happens? Golden cross on the daily, death cross on the weekly. I mean, I would think the weekly has more of an effect, more power over this than the daily, but you never know. So, all right, Bitcoin trader fears a bear market comeback. Watch the US dollar. And that's the other thing, the US dollar, the other thing I want to look at. It's all about a golden cross, a death cross, and the Federal Reserve when it comes to Bitcoin price action in the first half of the week. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView followed Bitcoin USD as it ignored the start of the United States equities trading day to stay near $22,800. The pair had seen flash volatility into the weekly close, abandoning levels near its 6 month highs above 24,000. Bitcoin thus worried market participants as the week began, with an increasing number eyeing a potential retest of $20,000 or lower. For on-chain monitoring resource material indicators, attention now turned to two classic chart features, a golden cross on the daily timeframes and a death cross on the weekly timeframes. Exactly what I've been talking about. And let me fast forward a little bit. At the moment it occurs, a golden cross on the Bitcoin daily chart could trigger some buying. Likewise, a pending death cross on the weekly chart will trigger some algo trading bots to sell, material indicators wrote in a tweet on the day. It also highlighted upcoming comments from Jerome Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve, due on February 7th. Tomorrow, from the day that I'm making this video. His cues over inflation policy present, in Powell's words, could easily move markets. And so that is a wild card, something that we need to take into consideration. But the golden cross, the death cross, the strength of the dollar is rebounding, and that is, quote, bad news for crypto. On the macro, U.S. stocks were down slightly at the open, with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite Equity Index losing 0.8% and 1.1% respectively. Asian stocks also finished the day lower. The U.S. dollar index, meanwhile, continued its rebound in a move threatening to pressure risk assets further. The index traded above 103.6 at the time of writing, its highest since January 9th, as analysts began to fear for the health of the crypto rally. It appears the dollar is attempting to reclaim its yearly uptrend. I would not go that far. All right, so let's talk about the dollar. Let me look at the DXY chart here. It should be a 15-minute chart. Yeah, it's a 15-minute chart. And you see this massive green candle here. This is what has contributed to the dollar's rise. And then we'll see what Jerome Powell has to say in his speech tomorrow, February 7th. And we'll see what other reports come. But this massive green candle, you can see, if you can look at the bottom of my screen, it says February 3rd, 2023, 13:30, 1:30 p.m., but that's UTC, so it was 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. What happened at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday was that we had a huge surprise in an economic report, and that was that non-farm payroll employment increased dramatically. And so let's talk about that in this article here. So bond yields and dollars rise, it's all about the job report. So for January, the U.S. added 517,000 jobs, higher than the expected 185,000. That is wild. And so what does this have to do with anything with the U.S. dollar rising? I mean, I've talked about this before. I'll say it again. So the DXY, there are some things that we are paying attention to as far as like what would cause the Fed to lower rates or to increase rates. All right, let's talk about lowering real quick. A couple things. One would just be a flat out recession. And shoot, I'm blanking on the other thing. But, like COVID. COVID came and the DXY plummeted. And so, or sorry, not the DXY, the Fed rates, they took it, the federal fund rates, they took it all the way down to zero. And that's because there was a huge risk to the American economy, at least in their eyes. And so they wanted to do whatever they could to inject money into the economy, to inject this funny money into the economy. And we saw all the stimulus and everything. And so the DXY plummeted. And so fears of recession, that's going to cause the DXY to go down. But we see the U.S. adding almost 330,000, more than 330,000 jobs, more than what was expected. And what that communicates to the Federal Reserve is, hey, we don't need to take our foot off the gas pedal when it comes to raising rates. We can continue being aggressive, or we don't, at some point, maybe we just won't have to pivot. Because, I mean, their ideal situation would be a very healthy, very strong economy with rates very high. But just that's not going to happen, not for a long time at least. Not for a long, it's not sustainable is what I'm saying. And so we're seeing this. This is a reversal in what we have seen with the DXY. Let me expand this chart, and you can see those last few days have been wild. And so we peaked very high, highest levels in about 20 years at 114, and then we've just been in a downtrend ever since. But then boom, these last few days, as we see signs of a recovering economy, that's going to decrease the Federal Reserve's interest in pivoting and in lowering interest rates, and it's going to increase the strength of the US dollar. And so, is that a bad thing? Is it bad that we're seeing signs that the US economy is recovering? No, I would say it's a good thing. I would also say that it's fake. I would say that, look at history, look at any time the Federal Reserve has decided to raise rates. At some point, 2008 financial crisis, post-dot-com bubble, at some point, there's a crisis that causes them to bring rates right back down. And I am expecting something similar this time around. As far as the time frame is concerned with that, 2020, late 2023, sometime in 2024. 2024 could be a very difficult year. And then boom, funny money enters the system, euphoria after that. We'll see. But anyway, these are the things I'm looking at right now as far as what has me bullish, what has me bearish. Right now, medium term, I am bullish. A year from now, kind of bearish. I'm not saying that it's going to, Bitcoin's going to be lower than where it is now, but medium-term bullish, short-term bearish, longer-term bearish, on a long enough timeline, Bitcoin to the moon. But we just got some short-term things, some short-term pain that we're going to have to navigate our way through. I have closed my longs. I closed a Bitcoin long that I've had for a few weeks, Polygon long that I had for a few weeks, and same for Litecoin. Bitcoin and Polygon were in the positive. Litecoin was in the negative. I want to see if I can get lower entries on those. I'm going to ride those for quite a while, but to me it seems pretty clear over these next few days where we're going. Maybe I'm wrong. You never know, but I'm not worried about it. I will, if I'm wrong, I'll just enter right back in and maybe not worry about the short term next time. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section of this video. How big of a concern is this mega death cross to you? And, looking at everything else, I would love to hear your thoughts. But otherwise, I will see you in another video. Peace.